So when you install a Windows operating system, there are certain folders that are automatically created on the drive that you install the operating system on. And again, for the most part, that would typically be drive C. So if I click on drive C, you can see up here that when I say that I'm at the root of the drive, that means that I am at that starting location. Okay, if I click on a drive letter within the this PC, if I click on a drive letter or double click on a drive letter and it opens up that drive, then the folders that I see there are at the root of the drive. Okay, and I can navigate through those folders by double clicking on them and so on. But for now, what I want to do is just I want to focus on some of these folders and identify their names, their locations, obviously, their general purpose, whether or not the folder is hidden by nature. So we'll talk about what that is and how you can determine that. And what else did I want to say about folders? Oh, I'm in the wrong location. Windows. Somehow I missed that. Here we go. The other thing that I want to point out, so where are they? What are they named? What is it used for? Is it hidden? And does it have an environment variable associated with it? Okay, so those are the things that I'm going to point out as I go through some of the folders that exist on all Windows operating systems. Okay, so before I do that though, I do want to point out when I refer to a hidden file or a hidden folder, it is not visible. Okay, that's what makes it hidden. Okay, it's not by default your operating system, unless somebody has changed it, and you may have been the one that changed it. By default, your operating system does not display files or folders that have been tagged, if you will, as hidden. Okay, usually those are critical operating system files and folders that by hiding them, it just prevents problems from occurring by somebody deleting them or doing something harmful to them. Okay. To view, if you want to view hidden files or folders, you can do that easily. Windows 8 and above added this ribbon across the top of your Explorer that did not exist in Windows 7. In Windows 7, if I wanted to, actually I'll talk about that after. Okay, Windows 10, this View tab, over on the right you can see this checkbox hidden. So Windows 8 is where this feature was introduced, where it allows you to quickly just click off check off hidden, I should say. And what I want you to notice is this list, one folder is going to be added to this list, and the visual of the folder is going to be slightly different so that you can actually see that it is in fact hidden. So you can see program data. Notice that that's dimmed in color. So it's obvious to me right now when I'm looking at a file or folder, if that file or folder is dimmed, it is likely that it is a hidden folder or file, and that it is visible now because I'm displaying hidden files and folders. So when you check off hidden items, it means it's going to display files or folders that are hidden in your operating system. Okay. Other places that you can check that off is under options. So I can go into options, I can go into view, and here I can drill down to this box that says hidden files and folders, show hidden files and folders. If I select that and apply it, what I want you to notice is it's automatically going to uncheck that. Okay, so that's a toggle. If I check it and apply, that checks it. So all Microsoft did is it took this feature that's frequently used in Windows 7 and below, and it added a little tick box at the top of a Windows Explorer to give you easy access to be able to quickly display hidden files. Okay, so again, if I were in a program, if I were in an earlier version of Windows, Windows 7 for example, there is no option, there's no view. I can, however, go into, if I go to, I can go to folder search options right here. So from the organize menu, folder and search options, notice brings up this same dialog box that we saw in Windows 10. Go to the view tab and notice down here, show hidden files are already displayed on this particular system, or don't show, apply. I come back out and I go to my C drive. I go to my C drive and you can see program files is not displayed, program data is not displayed. If I go back out to organize and folder and search and view and check off show hidden files and folders and apply and OK out, you can see that program data is in fact now displayed. So the same folder at the root of the drive pretty much. There are also some hidden files at the root of the drive that are also mission critical, if you will, that are also hidden. They are hidden a little bit hotter, if that's the right term I'm looking for. In other words, they are not going to become visible by simply checking off that checkbox. So if we take a look at the files that exist at the root of this drive, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files at the root of the drive, and I do have hidden folders and files displayed right now, that checkbox. If I go to options and again go to view and drill down here to hide protected operating system files, this is checked off because that's how it should be. But again, as an IT person, there may be times where you need to actually display those files. So I would uncheck this, and it gives me that warning that says, no, do you really want to do this? And I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to OK out. And you'll notice a couple of things. The recycle bin is now displayed here. I have this documents and settings shortcut displayed here. I have a recovery folder displayed here, a system volume information displayed. And there are more than 5 files displayed on this drive at the root. Okay, so checking off hidden items doesn't my point is that when you check off hidden items here, there still might be some additional system critical files that are still hidden, and that's fine, depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish. So I'm just going to go back in here, check view, and recheck the hide protected operating system files, and OK. So you can see what that hidden folder is. Okay. So again, that was just kind of showing you how to display hidden files. And again, I usually also then say, you know what, you can always do it from control panel as well. So if you can get to control panel, and depending, and you can get to control panel, by the way, by simply typing control panel. Okay, I tend to not want to have to type it, so I pin it to my start menu, and then selecting control panel. And in control panel, this control panel looks the same in Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10. So at this point, I would choose the appearance and personalization block, if you will, and then File Explorer options. In Windows 7, it's going to say Folder Options. In Windows 10, it's called File Explorer Options, but notice where it lands us, exactly where we were 2 minutes ago. So just another way to get to this setting, okay, but through control panel. Okay, so questions on the concept of a hidden file or folder, the concept of displaying a hidden file or folder. So the first folder then that I want to talk about is the PerfLogs folder. So if I look at my C drive, you can see that there is a folder called PerfLogs here. There's nothing in it, so you could actually delete it, and if it's needed, it's actually used to store, when you run a performance monitoring tool, it stores log files here that identify the results of that running that tool. Our diagnostics report is stored here. But if you've deleted the folder and you run that diagnostics tool, it'll just recreate the folder and put the file. You shouldn't delete folders that you don't know what they are in the first place, but if you did delete this folder, it would automatically get recreated the next time you ran that particular tool. Okay, the next folder that I want to talk about is program files. So notice there's a folder here called program files, a space in the folder name. Microsoft is kind of tunnels us into using certain folders for certain things. Okay, back in the early days, back when you installed a program, the program had you pick where you want to put it. Okay, so I want to install whatever program. I'm going to create a folder at the root of my hard drive, and I'm going to put that program in that location. It was not uncommon to do something like that, okay, back in the day. And even programs back then would assume that's where you want to put them and would automatically say, I'm going to put the folder at the root of the drive and install the program in that location. Over time, Microsoft has kind of forced us into these, to use these folders. The program files folder, gee, what do you think might be stored there? Program files, right? Anything that you install on your computer, if I double click on program files, you can see a bunch of folders within these folders. Some of them, Microsoft Office, Internet Explorer, Google, FileZilla. So you can see a bunch of folders that are associated with programs that are installed on this computer. So by default, Microsoft will, the program, okay, the person who wrote the program, okay, has programmed it to automatically be installed in this location. And frequently, if you're doing a custom install, you have the opportunity, if you so choose, to install in a different location. Okay, but for the most part, if you just do a standard installation of a program, most modern day systems today, most modern day programs today, will create a folder in program files and store all of its associated files within that location. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So program files is actually used, remember we talked about 32-bit or 64-bit systems? So if you are on a 32-bit system, then all application programs are stored in this folder. Okay, in the 32-bit system, all of your 32-bit applications and 16-bit applications, if you have any, are stored in the program files folder. If you are on a 64-bit system, all of your 64-bit applications are stored in this folder. Okay, but 64-bit systems frequently have 32-bit applications installed on them. Okay, when you download an application, it might be a 32-bit program, and you install it on a 64-bit system, it's going to run. Vice versa is not true. I can't install a 64-bit program on a 32-bit machine, but I can install a 32-bit program on a 64-bit machine. Okay? And if I do, then those 32-bit applications will not be stored in the program files folder. They will be stored in the program files x86 folder. x86 is a term that you will frequently see when referring to 32-bit applications. So if you're downloading a program and you have two choices, x86 or 64, and you want the 64-bit version, you're going to pick the 64. You want the 32-bit version, you're going to pick the x86. x86 has to do with like the original processor. Back in the day, there were 8088 and 8086 processors, and I'm guessing that's where that came from. Okay, so I think it should say 32, okay, but that's not what it says. So again, if there are any 32-bit applications installed on the system, which as you can see, there are on this machine, then they will be installed in that location. The fact that one exists, the fact that an x86 folder exists tells me that this system is a 64-bit system, okay? Because if this were a 32-bit system, all of my programs would be in the program files folder. There would be no reason to have a program files x86 folder, okay? And again, to confirm that, if I go back out here to, I'm going to go through, it doesn't matter which way I go. If I go to system here, you can see down here, I'm on the About tab because that's where I was last, but that's at the bottom of the screen here. You can see here that this is 1903, what did I just see, 64-bit, right here. Okay, so system type is a 64-bit operating system. Okay, so again, the program files x86 would only exist on a 64-bit system and contains any 32-bit applications that are installed on that system. Good? Yes? Program files is actually, and program files x86 is the first directory of the ones we've talked about that also have an environment variable associated with them. So first let me talk about what an environment variable is. It's a predefined name that represents the path to a certain location on your system. So it's a predefined name, and it has a, so I'm going to go to the command prompt real quick here, and even though I haven't really covered command prompt yet, and I'm going to type set p. Okay, first of all, when you type set at the command prompt, it gives you a list of all of the environment variables that currently exist on this system. and their respective values. So it's going to give you the name of the variable, an equal sign, and the value of that variable. But it's going to show you all of them. Okay, so there are quite a few. I don't really want to see all of them. I only want to see the ones that have a name that begin with the letter P. So I type set P, and that says show me a list of the variables, the environment variables that exist on this system that have a name that begin with the letter P. So when I press the enter key here, you can see there are still quite a few of those. But the two that I want to focus on are these two right here. Okay, program files and program files x86. So the variable name is actually program files, no space. Okay? And the variable name here is again program files, no space, x86. So notice the value of that variable is the absolute path to the folder that contains program files. Okay? The absolute path to the program that contains the 32-bit programs. Okay, so when it would be useful to use a variable as opposed to using the actual path would be, let's say that, again, I'm going to use it as script or a batch file as an example. Let's say that I'm creating this script that's automating something. I want to add something to that program files folder to your computer and your computer and your computer and your computer and your computer. You all work for me. You all have a company computer. When you log into that computer, I want to make sure that a particular file is added to that folder, or a particular file is removed from that folder, or something. Some task needs to be performed on that folder. Okay? But I know that your operating system is installed on drive C, your operating system is installed on drive D, your operating system is installed on drive E. Okay? If I use C:\program files, it's going to work for him, but it's not going to work for the two of you. Do we get that concept? Right? Whereas if I use program files, and when you use a variable and a command, you actually have to put percent signs after it. So if I actually said echo, echo will allow you to see the value of the variable. Program files, if I can type, it'll be good. Program files, all one word, close percent sign. I spelled files wrong, didn't I? If you just see the variable name, then that means it didn't work. Okay? So you can actually see the absolute path that value, that variable. So if I were going to write a script to do what I just said, to copy something to your computer and yours, and I know that some people in my company have their operating system installed on a different drive, then program files percent would be the more efficient path that I would use in the command. Because then I know it would copy, because your variable's value would be C program files, yours would be D program files, yours would be E program files. Okay, so that when I use the variable name, it's going to use the actual path to that particular folder. So there are some, when you're writing scripts, variables can be very powerful. Okay, allow you to allow a lot more flexibility with how you write a particular command. Okay, so as you can see, the two directories that, or folders that I've already discussed are the program files and program files x86. Each of those, neither one of them are hidden. You can see there's no, it's not dimmed. The color of the folder is not dimmed. Neither one of them are hidden, but each one of them do have a variable associated with them. So environment variable does exist for program files, and environment variable does exist for program files x86. Okay, which means I can reference that directory by its path, C:\, or by its variable name. Okay, questions?